Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Haraya Namah, Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana, Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana, Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, Shri Rupa Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Rasa Raghunath. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hare. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol. Maharaj.
Madhava Kunjabi Hari Ramadhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Brajana Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Nandana Brajanaran Jamana Tirabhana Chadi Tirabhana Chadi Jamuna Tirabhana Chadi Tirabhana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Nandana Brajanaran Jamuna Tirabhana Chadi Tirabhana Chadi Jamuna Tirabhana Chadi Tirabhana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Hari Vedikacharya Astatarasatasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaura Premanandi. Pretty amazing in the midst of spike in the COVID situation here in Texas, we're gathering together like this. Everyone masked up, of course. Today is an auspicious day in auspicious month, in a well, not so auspicious year. Vamana Dwadasi. Vamana Dwadasi. In the same month that Srimati Radharani appears 4 days ago, at least by lunar calendar. And tomorrow, the appearance day of Haridas Thakur. And Then Bhadra Purnima, where everyone's going to give gifts of Srimad Bhagavatam sets to people because it's so auspicious. What an auspicious month. What an auspicious month. Same month as Krishna appears, month of Bhadra. So I thought it would be nice to speak something about Vamana on Vamana Dwadasi. Although the occasion is initiation ceremony, it's Vamana Dwadasi. So you can, going into the future, you can remember during this auspicious month the date of your initiation, the candidates here. Vamana means dwarf. And there's different names of Vamana. Vamana Dev, the god who is a dwarf. Or Upendra, the younger brother of Indra. Trivikrama, the one who has 3 steps. And Uru Krama, one who's got a really big step. Uru Krama. And he's none different than Krishna, or none different than Vishnu. As we know from Krishna Janmashtami, Krishna says, is Vasudeva, Krishna says, I've already appeared as your son twice. And Vamana is one of those appearances of Lord Vishnu. A little bit of the background connected with Vamana's appearance. It's a very long section in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that goes back to chapter 11 of canto 8, where we discussed this yesterday evening. Big battle between the Devas and the Daityas. And present during that battle on the Daitya side, because he was from the Daitya clan, was Bali. And the Brihaspati gave a nice hint, which Indra figured out how to follow the hint, the clue, and he defeated the demigods, the devas, smashed them. Not only smashed them, but Bali was killed. And he rose from the dead. There's a devotee that's circulating a little video that explains Haridas Thakur rose from the dead. Tomorrow you can remember more than one person rose from the dead. Sukracharya had mystic power, and he was able to bring Bali Maharaj back to life. Now, that happens. I mean, it's not usual, but Narada Muni knew that art. He brought the son of Chitraketu back to life, and then he said goodbye to everybody and left. But Bali remained, and he, as is part of Vedic culture, it's a very important part of Vedic culture, a very important, say it 3 times, a very important part of Vedic culture is gratitude. And gratitude requires, according to the instructions of the Vedas, is that you not only feel something, but you do something, and you're indebted, ring, debt. So he became very devoted to Shukracharya, naturally so. And Shukracharya was, he was very learned in the Vedas. Now, we had this discussion yesterday. Someone can be very learned in the Vedas and get the wrong understanding. Gyanis do that. They're very learned in the Vedas and they get the wrong understanding. And they think they're right. It's like really difficult when they think they're right and they're very learned. because they haven't had association with bhakta or bhakti. So Bali became very powerful according to according to Brihaspati, he became very powerful by Brahma Tejas. Brahma Tejas is the power of the Brahmanas invested in him power. And he did a very difficult and elaborate yajna, Vishvajit yajna, with so many Brahmanas involved. And from the Vishvajit yajna came a chariot and horse and weapons and all kinds of things, so that Vishva Jita, he could conquer the universe. And sure enough, he did. Sure enough, he did. When he came for return visit to the heavenly realm, he was so powerful. And Indra could sense it. So he went to Brihaspati, what to do. Brihaspati said, don't even try, just leave. But the good news is, he'll lose all of his power, this brahmachajas, by offending the brahmanas. The brahmana that he offended was not Shukracharya. The brahmana that he offended, this is part of this morning's initiation talk. It was the trick of Vamana. Vamana tricked him. There's this very nice discussion in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. Some of you are familiar with Brihat Bhagavatamrita. When Narada goes to Indra saying, oh, you're such a recipient of Lord, because he was watching Indra worship his younger brother, Vamana. And after worship, Vamana retired or left. And that's when Narada approached him. Oh, you're so fortunate. The Supreme Personality Godhead resides here on your planet, and you get to worship him every day. And Indra, among other things, said, no. Yes, he became my younger brother. And yes, I was protected by him. The kingdom of heaven was regained. But he did it with a trick. It wasn't like he used his valor and defeated like the Supreme Lord Vishnu will often do. He just tricked Bali, took the kingdom back. I'm not the greatest recipient. So that was one of the glories. Now, to trick somebody, that's not nice. You don't glorify somebody by tricking somebody so they lose everything. But when Vishnu does, it's fantastic. Because what he gave him was not just take away, but he gave him. And sometimes, if you're Vishnu, you may know how to do something like that. Take something and give something. That's Hari. He takes away and he gives. He gives himself. And that's what Vamana did. So Indra immediately accepted Brihaspati's advice, and they just became invisible and left. They were no longer in charge of heavenly realm. And Bali, being so powerful and so this and that, he not only ruled heaven, he ruled the universe. He was really powerful. And then they engaged the Brahmanas, the descendants of Bhrigu, engaged him in 100 Ashwamedha yajnas, which is a feat that Indra had done. Now he's matched the feat of Indra. He's Indra, Nava Indra. He's his full replacement. So naturally, the mother of Indra and other devatas was having some feelings about all of that. So she went to her dear husband, Kashyapa, what to do, what to do, what to do. So he gave her something to do, to regain, to reinstate her son in the heavenly realm. And there's one person that can do that. That's Lord Vishnu. So it was a certain very detailed and very difficult austerity and sacrifice. And she did perfectly. And Lord Vishnu came before her. And the description is there in the Bhagavatam, the form of Lord Vishnu, very similar to the form that Lord Vishnu showed to Vasudeva and Devaki, very similar to the form that Vishnu showed to Dhruva. It's the same Vishnu. Now, he can appear however he likes, and he does. Sometimes he appears as a dwarf Brahmin, but he appeared in that original forearm form with his symbols of Vishnu in his hand and so forth. And she offered beautiful prayers. She let Vishnu know what it was that she wanted. And she wanted to have her son somehow reinstated in his position. It was material. Now, Vishnu, interesting, he refers to her as goddess. And it's repeated, goddess. So she's not ordinary. Devaki's not ordinary. Prishni is not ordinary. To have the personality. So not only their devotion, it's somehow, the detail is not revealed, but somehow special aside in addition to their pure devotion. So you can call a pure devotee goddess if that's, I guess that's okay. Kashyapa heard from his wife, Aditi, what happened. He did what you do in the particular yoga. He did his meditation, and in his meditation, he saw a plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead enter within him. So he then became the transmitter of the personality of Godhead, very similar to Krishna entering the mind of Vasudeva in his purified state. So Kashyapa was very, very special, as was Aditi. And after some time, Vamana appeared. And similar, yet different, similar to how Krishna appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, Vamana didn't appear with the forearm with the symbols of Vishnu. He appeared as a dwarf with the symbols of a Brahmana, the Brahmin thread and everything, his, paraphernalia. He was ready to go. So it's not an ordinary birth because he's not an ordinary personality. Similar to how even Brahma had such power to manifest forms, and sometimes those forms would have their fully adult feature, just like Sutapa, just like Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. They were in their adult form. So not a normal birth, not how it normally happens. And they were naturally in transcendental happiness, and it wasn't revealed to them how this dwarf Brahmana, who they knew to be Vishnu, was going to get the kingdom back for Indra. Now, celebrated in the Vamana Leela, most, just like these names, Trivikram and Anukrama, it's his 3 steps, 2 steps covering everything. And less known, but the main topic I want to discuss this morning in relation to the initiation ceremony specifically is his denying the request, or you could say instruction, of the spiritual master. No, that's a no, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. And Shukracharya instructed him when Vamana came. Very beautiful description. There's a another one of those yagyas that did with so many yagyas, and Shukracharya was there. It was early in the morning because that's commonly an unauspicious time for yagyas to be performed. And Vamana appeared on the horizon like a second sun that was rising. So we know how intense and bright and so forth, what the rising of the sun is. And it looked like a second sun was rising that morning. And everyone noticed. And Bali also noticed. And as he got closer and closer and closer, the beauty of this Supreme Lord in the form of a dwarf Brahmin was overwhelming everyone, especially Bali. So we should remember that Bali was the grandson of Prahlad. And naturally, we don't hear, at least I'm unaware of any detail where it says Prahlad instructed his grandson. We can assume because he's Prahlad. And he was present in this pastime that he instructed Bali, his grandson. Now, Bali he was indebted to Shukracharya, and he was a follower of the vidhis, the dharmas for a king, for a ruler, for a kshatriya. Very fastidious. And when Vamana came, everything stopped. And he offered his appeal to Vamana. How auspicious to perform a yajna in such a person as you, a Brahmin, so effulgent as you come, everything will be auspicious. I'd like to give in charity. No, this is another cultural item, giving in charity, as he wanted to give back with gratitude. Of late in my readings in the Bhagavatam, I'm finding this over and over and over. It's just part of Vedic culture, is something, and there's this exercise of giving something. For example, this is just one recent one that I came across. When the Brahmana came back to see Rukmini with the message, Krishna has come. And she was in such a joyful state, but she had nothing. So she just folded her palms and offered her respects to the Brahmana. Or when the boatman carried Ramachandra across the Ganges, there's this very nice story that's connected with that. When they got on the other side, he wanted to give a gift to the boatman for carrying him across the Ganges. But he didn't have anything. And he said, I don't have anything to give you. And Sita was ready to give something. And the boatman said, no. Having the opportunity to serve you, that's everything. No, the devotees feel like that. It's not just, courtesy, but they feel they don't want, and they in exchanges amongst even ordinary people of this world, it's just part of culture. Anyway, I want to give something. And I'm a brahmachari, no need. But if you really want to give something, 3 paces of land. Look at how short your legs are. 3 paces of land. 3 paces of land. Okay, it is. Now, he gave his word, and this is one of the binding elements for a cultured person, is upholding your word. It's truthfulness. But not only kings, certainly kings, but people of this world. Something that I learned as a brahmachari, it's been with me for a long time. A man is only as good as his word. Maybe you've heard that before. Ladies too. A lady is only as good as her word. You give your word, you keep your word. And if for some reason something comes and you can't keep your word, you go to the person who you gave your word to and say, this circumstance, I'm not able to complete the word that I gave you. May I be forgiven? And they can say whatever they're going to say. But you're bound by your word. It's stronger than ropes. It's stronger than chains. It's stronger than the modes of nature. It's liberating. So Shukracharya, said, no, no, no. Why? Because he's Vishnu. And it's a trick. He's going to take everything. And then, look, you're very absorbed and fastidiously following your household duties. You won't have anything to perform your household duties with because he'll take everything. So you'll be guilty of sin. And not only that, I'll lose my income because you're giving charity to the Brahmana that performs the yajnas for you. And then he gave several, Brahminical tricky ways of not keeping his word. There's celebrated ones. You didn't say Om, so it's okay. You don't have to follow. And other things. He gave some conditions under which when a statement is made, it need not be followed because or if such and such. So there's no transgression in the codes of the Vedas. You don't have to. Now, this is the person that saved his life, to whom he feels very indebted, and who has awarded Brahma Tejas and has given him the opportunity to be Vishvajit, a conqueror of the universe. And he's saying, don't do it. Take it back. And he takes it back. He doesn't take it back. He doesn't follow that instruction. So there's lots of commentary on this topic, but the short of it is, he gave his word. Like we know in Ramayana, his father gave his word, and that's it. And you give your word, and that's it. Like, one example is Bhishma Dev not following the instructions of Parshuram, because I said once upon a time, I won't marry, and you're telling me to get married? Well, I made a vow. So in the case where you're asking me to break a vow, I'm going to have to not do what you said. And if the option is, if I don't do that, I have to engage in battle, let's go to Kurukshetra and have it out. At least you can die in an auspicious place. And there's other examples. So what's way up here is keeping your vow. Just like at initiation, there's vows. Or now here there's these two sense of duty or commitment to Shukracharya and to a little dwarf Brahmin who he never met before. And his reasoning is, if he's Vishnu, fantastic. Because that's what my grandfather taught me. And Shukracharya hasn't been teaching me that, although he's taught me lots of stuff. This isn't in the discussion, by the way, but it's, if he is Vishnu and he takes everything, and even if he wants to punish me, no problem. No problem. Because he's Vishnu. And so he went against what Shukracharya said. And then Vamana, poof, he became so big, not just big, He covered the three worlds. I mean, his form was big. It's the way it's described, it's different, but it's like what Krishna showed to Brahma, the whole universe, all of the universes, and all of the energies within the universes are within that little form of Krishna. Or what he showed Mother Jasoda, everything is within Krishna. So he showed it in a different way to Bali. And everybody else saw gigantic form. And his hands covered all directions. How do you draw that? So after 2 steps, okay, where's now you promised 3 steps, 3 paces of land. And in 2 paces, all the land is covered. Now what? Celebrated. The Atma Nivedana, full surrender. And that full surrender was followed by, you promised 3 paces. You didn't give me 3 paces. You're arrested. Tie him up. And then this very interesting, you know how it goes. 2 groups of people saying that wasn't right. Some person saying no, it was right. You know, rah, 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 rah. You know how it goes. It's different voices saying different things and not agreeing. And then Vamana spoke. In simple terms, I wanted to show, just see how exalted is Bali. Even when he surrendered everything and he's punished after surrendered everything, no objection. How surrendered is Bali? Just see how exalted. One of my favorite sections, because we all undergo some difficulties from time to time. Do you know anybody that hasn't? Everybody has. So Prabhupada writes, Krishna is very kind. He sometimes puts his devotee in difficulty, but he never puts them in a difficulty that they can't cross over. And he gives the strength to cross over. So back to what Brahaspati said. Brahaspati said to Indra when Bali came the second time with his, Brahma Tejas, don't have combat with him. But he'll lose all of his Brahma Tejas by offending a Brahmana. And the Brahmana was not Shukracharya because he did the right thing. But the offense was to Vamana because he promised 3 paces of land and he didn't give it. But although his Brahma Tejas was taken, the Brahma Tejas that enabled him to conquer the universe, his Brahma Tejas was taken. But instead he was given the loving shelter and association of the personality of Godhead, which is far beyond any other attainment. So Hari took and Hari gave. And in the end, everyone was happy. Well, Shukracharya wasn't happy, but Indra was happy, Aditi was happy, Kashyapa was happy. They have Vamana, the personality of Godhead, as their son. Indra's happy. The demigods get the heaven back. And, justice is restored in the universe by the appearance of Brahmana without weapons, just by his power. And although his power included a little trick, appearing as a dwarf, but manifesting a form as big as the universe. And instantly, no difficulty. And as we know, Bali is one of our 12 Mahajans. And how did that happen? We can say it happened by the mercy of Prahlad, his grandfather, and by his full surrender. When the opportunity of a challenge came, a full surrender. So there's going to be initiation, And vows will be taken for initiation, and vows are meant to be kept. And it's by it's the same personality of Godhead that appeared before Kashyapa and Aditi, that later became the same personality of Godhead who appeared in the prison house of Kamsa before Vasudeva and Devaki, and then shortly thereafter was transferred to Vrindavan. The same personality of Godhead, at least one of his Leela avatar forms. So you'll all have the opportunity during this festival month to remember Krishna's appearance and Radharani's appearance and Balaram's appearance, Vamana's appearance, and your anniversary of your initiation. Nice, auspicious. So because of time, I think we'll move into the next phase of things. Taking initiation vows and receiving your name and getting your beads and those nice things. And then my understanding is we're going over to Guranga Hall. Yes? Looking at Chaitanya Das. So there will be a 1 second initiation. Sundar Gopal is very enthusiastic to begin worship of the deity on the altar. And I'm sure the pujaris are very welcoming of capable, dedicated, proximate devotee. Doesn't have to drive 45 minutes in the morning to get here, but walk across the street and serve the deity. But they will speak something about the first initiates. So age before beauty, right? So Jagadish and Leela, you can offer your obeisances before Prabhupada. Both? Yes, both. And someone is going to say something about these 2 individuals. Who is that somebody? Shamsundar? Do we have a microphone? Portable microphone? Can you take?
Hare Krishna. So I known Jagdish Prabhu and Sailila Mataji for almost now 6 years. They started attending the Bhakti Workshop and KT group from 2015, and they are really serious about their spiritual life. One really good qualities that this family has is they are good listeners. They are patiently will listen the classes, and then they will do all. And not only just the listening, but they will put into their practical life. They are really humble. Jagdish Prabhu has a big heart, and his wife is very dependent on him, which is a very good quality for the wife to have. And she should feel very happy that he has the competent husband to lead the spiritual life. I have seen during our morning japa program that Jagdish Prabhu will always reveal wonderful, some stories that really enhance our feeling that what we are missing in this material world. And he always expressed that we have wasted our life. We have to become very sincere. So one thing about him is when he decides to do something, he is very dedicated and determined person. I've seen him that he's really becoming detached from the so-called material attachments. He's really utilizing the Lakshmi in the service of Krishna. I remember that one time his company gave him the bonus for his excellence work at his place, and he donated 100% to the Iskcon of Houston. And he is contributing quite a bit in India also, in his back home. His desire is that he really wants to place Srila Prabhupada movement and his Guru Maharaj. They have a keen interest to follow the devotional practice, and I request all the assembled Vaishnavas that please bestow a kind of mercy upon them so they can complete their mission in their life to fulfill the goal of the human form of life.
Hare Krishna. So I have Jagdish Prabhu and his wife have been in my adult education class for the last 2 or 3 years. And Mother Leela does not write English, but she understands. And Prabhu is so dedicated that for the test, she tells him the answers in her language. Then he writes the answers after he writes his test, and then they submit it. So such a wonderful example of a husband who's so invested in the spiritual advancement of his wife, very exemplary. And both of them are very interested in spreading Krishna consciousness also. Mother Leela is always thinking about how she can give Krishna consciousness to others. And I just think this comes from the Shiksha Guru Saranga Thakur Prabhu, because he trains the people who come under him to be preachers. So it's a very nice example of this couple who are very dedicated in learning not only the Shastra, but also in doing service. They come to clean the kitchen every week, and then they do the class from the dining room here. And then, so very, very beautiful couple and very loving. Mother Leela is very, very loving, like a mother.
Okay, fantastic. So now we're ready for the vows. We'll start with Jagadish. The 4 rules that you'll follow, please. Okay. And how many rounds you'll chant on these beats? Very good. And if you stick around Shamasundar, that number is going to go up. But minimum 16. And you'll make your best effort during your lifetime to continue following Prabhupada's teachings. Yes. Initiated name is Janaki Kanta Das. Just like one of Krishna's names is Radhakanta. So one of Lord Ramachandra's names is Janaki Kanta, the husband of Janaki, or the lover of Janaki. Okay. And she can't speak English. Huh? Yeah. You can speak English. Okay. You just can't write English. Okay. Okay. So the 4 rules that you follow.
No meditating, no gambling, no sex, and no intoxication.
Very good.
Including coffee and tea also.
Okay, including. What else is on that list? Okay, she's got it. And you'll continue following your good husband, who is going to continue to follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Okay. Your initiated name is Labangalatika Devi Dasi. Okay, Dangalila. Who is our spokesperson for her? Radha Krishna, there he goes.
Congratulations, Dhanalila. Hare Krishna. I'm always delighted to see the youth coming forward and taking initiation. It's a very rare thing, but it's fascinating and wonderful when they do come forward. I have known Dana Leela for many years, but especially in the last 4 years when she signed up for the Bhakti Shastri course. And in the beginning, she was very shy, but there was an opportunity for her to take the role of a leader for the youth. And when we suggested, she was shocked, but she took it up. And in fact, she did a very great service there. Because the going was tough, but she managed. And she got the youth into a few projects at the temple. And they also put up a nice drama with many devotees. Personally, I find her to be a very good person. I should say a very good lady. And very obedient, respectful, strong-willed at the same time. She's very inspired to become a better devotee. So she oftentimes emails me asking for guidance. And I must say kudos to both Rati Prabhu and Sukada Mataji for raising such a wonderful girl who have taken shelter in Iskcon and Guru Parampara, especially His Holiness Ramapad Swami. Once again, this is a fantastic thing, and I'm so happy for her. And I hope, just like Bali Maharaj surrendered, she would eventually surrender completely to Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I know this family when they moved from Chicago in 2015. And it was my fortune to visit their home. And I was very impressed by the devotional atmosphere they hold in their home. Both children are unique and really nice. There's a lot to say about that personality. Radha Krishna Prabhu has mentioned other things, and I think she took the Bhakti Shastri through Radha Krishna Prabhu, where she revealed that she really became attached to Srila Prabhupada's message by going through the study of Bhakti Shastri. The unique qualities that she has, that what I witness, that she will never take the credit on her own. She always, I ask her, that become a unique lady in this world. Everybody lives similar life, but I want you to see some unique life. And she really will exhibit something special for the Hare Krishna movement. She always appreciates all the sannyasis, gurus, the devotees at Houston Yatra to give her the assistance. And I think she doesn't take any credit. She told me that Prabhuji, actually who I am is just because of the mercy of all the wonderful devotees and my Guru Maharaj. So it's so nice to see that mood wonderfully grown and ingrained by their family traditions. And then I think in just after the COVID, she started reporting to Maharaj willingness to take the shelter. So it was determined a year ago, but because of the COVID, it didn't take place. But I think she has been following wonderfully, despite her hectic work at the corporate level. I see that. But she has determination to follow the process, and she is sincere. And we wish and we pray to Sri Radha Nila Madhava and all the assembled Vaishnavas to bestow the kind mercy upon her so she can make tangible progress in her spiritual life. Very wonderful, exemplary. I was so happy to see that she made that decision so early in the life. congratulations, Dhanalila Mataji. Haribol.
Okay. This is becoming a major event, is appreciation of the devotees.
This is a message from Kirti and Anu. Dear Danu, if that's still your name, remember when we attempted to wake up for Guru Maharaj's early Bhagavatam classes with our notebooks and pens ready to write all those notes, just to end up playing tic-tac-toe in the back, snickering, while Guru Maharaj gave us a look? There would be 3 strikes until he would tell the devotees in the temple hall to kick us out. All the hard work, all the showering and waking up for nothing. Yet we are still here, waking up early in the morning for your initiation, hoping that Maharaj doesn't kick us out.
Wow. Give me a break.
All jokes aside, the day that we have dreamed is finally here. From recreating labor scenes of Kayadu, Narada Muni, and Prahlad Maharaj to creating emails based on our hypothetical initiated names one day, it is so surreal that you are finally here. Words cannot explain how much we care for you. We know how much you have been through to get to this day. We want you to know, as your sisters from day one, that we are insanely proud of the woman that you have become. The relationship that we have binds us from the soul because we are meant to serve Guru Maharaj together. But here you are, bearing the torch for all of us, pushing us to be better in the goal that binds us all. Thank you for inspiring and continuing to be support system that we are blessed to have. We are right here to support you and have got your back no matter what happens. P.S. We have dreamed of this moment in person. However, I hope we have embarrassed you enough. Your sisters forever, Kirti and Anu.
Hare Krishna. Young people have a good sense of humor sometimes. And I don't remember anything about tic-tac-toe, and I don't even know if it happened. Okay. The vows, how many rounds you'll chant daily? And the 4 rules you'll follow?
No reading, no gambling, no illicit sex.
Okay. And like the rest of your family, you continue following Srila Prabhupada's teachings the rest of your life. Initiated name is Daya Kelly Devi Dasi. Now, Dana Leela is such a nice name, but Daya Kelly is another very nice name. What you can think of Srimati Radharani when you hear your name. So it's to help you think of Radharani. One of the exemplary manifestations of mercy or daya, Keli means pastime, is this event that took place near Radha Kund at a place called Shiva Kadi, where Lord Shiva resides to give protection to Radha Kund. And there was one female jackal drinking water out of the kund there when some local village boys, you could say cowherd boys, they saw the jackal and they got sticks and started chasing the jackal. The jackal ran into a hole, and they started beating the hole and built a big fire around the hole to get the jackal to come out, and they were going to beat the jackal. And the jackal was howling. Those of you that visit Mayapur, that sound that you hear at night, it's jackals. It's not like dogs. It's a different, really intense sound. So his life was at risk. So Radha was heading for Yavat. The description goes, she was heading for Yavat from Radhakund. She heard the screaming of that jackal. So she sent Lalita to find out what that was. And Lalita saw, and she scolded the boys very, very badly. Lalita can do things like that. And she rescued the jackal and brought the jackal before Radharani. And Radharani gave the jackal her mercy, female jackal. The jackal felt protected. The narration says the jackal fell at her feet. And Radharani embraced the jackal and gave her a situation where she would become one of her eternal associates. Magnificent example of Radharani's quality of daya, or mercy, or compassion. There's many, because it's by nature, she's merciful. Because it was just Radhastami, here's another Radharani story. One time, Krishna was by the side of Radharani, appreciating her beauty. And Krishna described her effulgent beauty to be like the moon, radiant beauty like the moon. And for some reason, Radharani took offense. What? You're comparing my beauty and complexion to the moon. The moon is pockmarked. And the very word of moon, Chandra, reminds one of the competitor gopis. And the moon arises from the churning of the milk ocean, the same place that poison comes from. I'm leaving. And in a huff, she ran away. And Krishna was very sad. And Radharani was very angry. So Krishna knew how the heart of Radha is. She's very merciful. So Krishna dressed himself up as a gopi, young cowherd girl, and gathered many, many flowers and was singing a song, traveling here and there. Who would like some wonderful flowers? And Radharani saw the gopi wandering here and there and singing very nicely. She said, who is that? Bring her. She looks very unhappy, being compassionate. She didn't know who the person was. Of course, it was Krishna. And Krishna came before her, and she saw the garland that this blackish gopi had made. And she remarked, there's only one person that can make garlands that look like this. No offense to our garland makers, but you can't match Krishna. And then she nodded to one of the gopis. This gopi garland maker can offer the garland. And when the garland was offered, she said, there's only one touch that's like that. And she said, I want to give you a reward. This is this gift giving charity. But I don't just want to give you some jewels or some ornaments. I want to decorate you with the finest of ornaments and finest of clothing. Gopis, undress her. And she need not worry, because we're all ladies and this happens. So the gopis, Krishna was resisting that blackish garland maker, but they grabbed him and undid his clothing, and flowers fell out all over the place, and everybody laughed and laughed and laughed. And Radharani laughed and laughed and laughed and embraced Krishna, and her anger was broken. Because Krishna knows that the nature of Radha is she's very merciful. So you come before Radharani in a appealing and helpless condition, something similar to Draupadi, raising both arms and calling, hey Krishna, hey Govinda, and Krishna will be there. And as Krishna protects those who are taking shelter, even more so Srimati Radharani the tender counterpart of Krishna. So, Daya Kelly, Devi Dasi. So now we're going to go.
One second. His
Maharaj.
Holiness Hanumat Prashar Maharaj is also giving a second initiation to.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't. I had no idea. Absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
Thank you. So it's very, very nice to be here with Maharaj and everybody else. It's a very, very nice program today. And also it's Jiva Goswami's appearance day, I think also today. So it's just today, so, you know,
Wow.
you can expect cows to be falling from the sky, possibly, or something, or milk, and flowers. You know. So we have Srinath Krishnadas, our disciple, from a nice South Indian family in Madras. We met there, and his brother also took initiation. And Divya Shri, Devi Dasi, is going to take second initiation today. And we have a letter from Lord Nityananda in Dallas. Our good friend Nityananda Prabhu. He says, Hari Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to your divine grace and Srila Prabhupada. I pray that this meets you all safe and well. I am very happy to recommend Divya Shri, Devi Dasi Mataji, for second initiation in your shelter. She is a very sincere devotee who does very significant services at the temple and supporting her dear husband's preaching programs. She has completed Bhakti Shastri. Hare Krishna, thank you, your servant's humble servant, Nityananda Das, to a president. And also Srinath Krishnadas, he was inaugurated, right, Bhakti Shastri program there. Mataji has been doing so much with the devotional service with the temple, with the people programs. And also, of course, coming all this way to a foreign country and trying to understand things. I think for ladies, especially, you lose your family association, everything else. It's quite an austerity to come in, especially come in the middle of a COVID virus when you can't talk to anybody. So maybe just one thing. Was in Italy, I think. And when Prabhupada was talking to one professor, and he was an Indologist, and he said, okay, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, are you giving Diksha? You know, he knew the Vedic culture. And Prabhupada said, yes. And he said to the girls, he said, yes, also. You know, but he said, first we give Harinam Diksha. And he said, that is more or less experimental. And then when we see the disciples are properly advanced, we actually initiate them. You know, so second initiation with Upadeshamrita, Prabhupada talks about it in the same manner. You know? But Prabhupada continued, and he said, but Jiva Goswami says that in this age, Harinam Diksha is sufficient. You know? So if we follow it properly, then informally we'll have the same result. But the second initiation, we're looking at it as a formality. And now we're going to be acting like cultured ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be acting like, you know, a good example that anybody comes. And so if you're taking the second initiation, then you're going to be, I think in Spanish, caballeros y damas. You're going to be ladies and gentlemen like that. And any neophyte coming, they're going to see, oh, this is how these people act. This is their comportment. With the good association of Jayananda. Jayananda's Brahmin strip was black from automobile grease. And he couldn't remember all the mantras, but he was way, way, way beyond second initiation. So it's indicating twice born. Prabhupada says Jayatam Dvijate, all the way to the twice born. And now we figured out that our service can be manifest in a Brahminical mode or a management mode or an economic development mode as a Vaishya. And we find our position, or as ladies. And now we're not just, you know, this devotees, but now we're finding an actual practical way to manifest it. Then later there's third initiation, you know, and fourth, fifth, it keeps on going as we become more and more intimately involved with Krishna. So we want to congratulate the disciples today in their second initiation. And now we'll all follow Maharaj like little goslings behind our mother to the Yagna shawl. And if a smiling little Brahmana boy shows up during the fire sacrifice, maybe something auspicious is going to happen. I don't know.
Krishna. So now the next phase of this ceremony, the yajna, will happen in front of the Gauranga hall. So they're already ready to go. So please head out that way, and please be seated in the in social distancing fashion there at least. Hare Krishna. So we will head out there. It's auspicious. The conch shells are blowing over there. If you would like to, you can take the cushions, but you have to bring them back. So make sure that you take your cushion just to make so it's safe to, and bring it back and put it back in the temple room. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
परमेश्वर की एक करे आहुति देगा ना अलग पाठ करेंगे
Yeah, they're circulating. Ishvara Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Lakshmi Sahasra Sasambhava Sevamanam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Shamam Mangalanitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Angani Yasya Sakadendriya Virintimanti Pashanti Kanti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Saruchvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Advaita Machutimadadi Manantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayomanam Cha Vedesha Durlabam Durlabam Atmapamtao Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Tantashtakoti Shakavatsara Sampradam Yo Vayo Ratapi Manaso Nipungavana Sopyasti Advapadasinya Vachinja Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Ekopya Samrachayatam Jagadanta Koti Yachaptirasti Jagadanta Chayaya Dantaha Andantarasta Paramanu Chayatarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yat Baba Baba Tadiyona Natasta Taiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasha Nayana Bhusha Suktaryameva Nigamapra Tataistavanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Prasapati Bhabitami Tabirya Eva Nidurupataya Kalabi Goloka Hivi Satya Pilatma Bhutta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilokanena Santam Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundara Vachinja Pradasarapam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramani Purushapalani Amena Tishman Nana Vatara Parode Shukinto Krishna Swayam Sabhabam Paramahmanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabhavato Jagadam Bhakti Shesha Vasitani Vibhuti Vinna Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Shesha Bodham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya Yasya Jagadanda Shatani Sute Jayamana Satvavalami Parasakam Vishuddha Sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Prasapati Avanakso Yatraninam Panikaram Sparutama Petya Niyayatena Bhuvanadi Jagatjasram Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Golokanamni Nijadamni Kaleta Tasya Devi Mahesha Haridama Sutesha Teshu Dete Prabhavati Chayati Tasyayena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Trishti Stiti Padaya Sadhana Shaktika Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibhakti Durga Nishadu Rupam Abhiyasya Tateshta Tesa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Kiram Yatadati Vikara Vishesha Yogat Sanjayate Nihitadak Prativasti Heto Yaksham Buddham Apitata Samopaiti Karyat Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Deeparishadeva Hidashamdana Apyupetya Deepayateva Vrindahetu Samana Dharma Yastadrigeva Yashavishnu Taya Vivati Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatkarna Dharna Bhajale Bhajati Swayoga Nidramananta Jagadanta Sarvam Kupaha Adara Shakti Bavalamya Param Sumurti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasyaita Nishvachita Kalamatabalamya Jivanti Loma Vilajaja Gadandanata Vishnur Mahansiya Yakalabhishekha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Bhaskanyataṁ Sakaleshu Teja Sriyam Kiyat Prakariyat Kanvidadvadatra Brahmaya Isha Jagadanda Vidana Karta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatpada Pallava Yugam Vidadaya Pampa Gande Pranama Samyesa Ganadi Raja Vignan Vihantam Anavachya Jagatprayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Agnir Himurudha Amba Parodha Shastra Tana Manasita Jagatprayani Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yamcha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yaj Chakshurisa Savita Sakala Grahana Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Teja Yasyagya Brahmati Samrita Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Bhajami Dharma Tapapa Nichaya Shutayasta Pangsi Brahmadi Kinta Patakabalayascha Jivaha Yadadma Prakata Prabhava Govindamadi Dasvindra Gopa Matavendra Mahosva Karma Bandhana Rupa Padapachanam Atanoti Karmani Nirdahita Kintu Chabhakti Vacham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Viti Vatsanya Moha Kuravora Vasenya Bhavai Sanchinta Tasya Sakshyam Dhanam Aparete Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Sriyam Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Talpataravo Drama Bhumi Chintamani Gana Maitoyam Amritam Kata Ganam Ganam Chidanandam Jyoti Param Apita Satyam Apita Sayatra Kirati Shabati Sarami Vyasa Sumahan Nimesha Yakyova Vrajati Nahiyakapi Samaya Vajay Shrita Dipam Tamaham Iha Golokam Nitiyam Vidantaste Santashati Viralachara Patikaye Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadya Adya Govinda Sarvadharana. Yeah.
Sannan Guru Maharaj Sannan Om Bhurvasha Om Tata Om Vahata Om Vahata Om Kriya Vishnu Krishna Krishna Vishnu Kesha Dipaganda Krishna Tam Samatami Om Mahavishnu Magni Swaha विष्णु हम शुरू करेंगे। ओम प्रजापति विष्णु श्री संगति विष्णु दोता श्री वैष्णव में विनादे स्वाहा। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते स्वामी विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भगवपाद स्वामी इति नामिने स्वाहा स्वाहा ज्ञानशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्वाहा स्वाहा स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं स्वाहा Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Saditam Savadutam Paritam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakanvitam Cham Swaha 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 Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Satarine Swaha Swaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Parshabhanavi Devi Gayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Primadhya Shri Prabhupada Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Swaha 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 Namo Guru Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Viprananga Rasambode Padambo Jayate Namaha Swaha 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 Namo Bhakti Vinodaya
Satchitanandanamine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Prabhupada Saha Gauravir Bhava Bhumeshvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Pancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishye Namaha Panchatatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Swaha Swaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Swaha Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padam Bojam Radha Madana Mohana Swaha Swaha Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Prestaditi Sevyamanos Marami Swaha Sriman Rasanasaramhi Vamshi Vatatata Stitaha Karshan Venusunayar Gopir Gopinatha Shriyeshtunaha Swaha Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Swaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Swaha 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Final mantra, standing. Take the banana in your hand, both hands, hold it in both hands and stand up.
ये सब घी लगाइदिए पूरा पूरा घी लगाइदिए
And gently, please. Namo Brahmanja Devaya.
Namo Brahmanja
Brahmana Hidaya Cha.
Brahmanaya
Hidaya Krishnaya.
Hidaya Krishnaya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare